So with the city of Tampa having 3 championship wins in the last 2 calendar years and 4 championship appearances, it really reminded me of how Oakland had 5 consecutive years where a team in Oakland won a championship. Whether it be the Warriors, Raiders, or A's, those 5 years in the 70s, the A's or Raiders or Warriors won it. So, with Tampa, like I said, being considered Champa Bay and being coined, the best sports city in the country, I thought about Oakland. And let's kind of go back in time and look at Oakland's really long-lasting success in the 70s with all 3 of their sports teams. So, first one, 1972 World Series. Actually, this is a 1972 World Series hat for the A's. The A's beat the Cincinnati Reds in 7 games, and that was the first World Series in Oakland. That was actually the first pro championship in Oakland from a professional team. This was just a great World Series. The Reds were obviously a really, really good team. Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench. But MVP was Gene Tennis of the A's. This was the glory days. This was the first of 3 titles in a row. A just really good game. The A's won a really good series, and the A's won the series in Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. So that was the first pro championship in Oakland. The second one, the A's also in 7 games beat the New York Mets in the 1973 World Series. This was, like I said, 7 games, another great World Series for Oakland. The A's had Dick Williams as their manager. They weren't the best team in the league that year, but they were pretty good. They were able to make it to the World Series. Reggie Jackson won MVP, Mr. October. He got that nickname rightfully so. The Mets had Willie Mays at this point. He was nearing the end of his career. Catfish Hunter was from the A's, Raleigh Fingers, Reggie Jackson, all these great guys, and just a great series. The A's won this one at home. 5-2 was the final score of Game 7, and just the second championship in a row. So then the A's the following year would win their 3rd and final championship of the 70s. 3rd in a row, actually, and just a really good series. Once again, so Raleigh Fingers got MVP for the World Series. The A's beat the Dodgers, and that was in 5 games. So the A's and Dodgers have actually played each other in the World Series multiple times. But a really good World Series once again. You look at all these World Series, and the A's were just able to really put on such a good performance on all of these. And obviously wasn't even close to being alive back then, but it's just cool to look back on these World Series teams. And like I said, Oakland had 5 consecutive years, and this was only the 3rd year in a row with a championship. The A's had a great pitching staff that year with Vida Blue, Raleigh Fingers, Ken Holtzman, Catfish Hunter, Blue Moon Odom, and many more pitchers. So that was great. Now, then we head to 1974/75. Season for the Warriors. The Warriors won their first championship in Oakland against the Washington Bullets. That name is actually defunct now. They're called the Washington Wizards now. Warriors swept them. Rick Barry, of course, won MVP. Rick Barry was the face of the Warriors, back in the 70s, and won them their first championship. And the Warriors actually had a 40-year drought before winning the championship again. They won it in 75, and it took them 40 years until 2015 to win it. So really, really awesome. This was just a really cool way to do this. They kind of had a home game system where they played at Cow Palace in San Francisco area, and then they also played in Oakland sometimes, but it was actually an Oakland Warriors team because they did certain scheduling things where they would play at the Cow Palace, but this was the 4th year in a row where an Oakland team won a championship, which is just really cool. Al Attles was the coach for the Warriors. That's just really cool. And the Warriors had to beat the Bulls to get to the finals, and that's kind of interesting because the Bulls are obviously, as we know, in the Eastern Conference, but they back then were not. And the Warriors dominated them. And it just to put into perspective what the NBA was like in 1975, the Warriors division was them, the Chicago Bulls, the Kansas City/Omaha Kings, the Seattle Supersonics, Detroit Pistons, Portland Trailblazers, Milwaukee Bucks, Phoenix Suns, and LA Lakers. So some familiar teams that we know, but much different also. The Warriors finished the best in the Western Conference, 48-34, and just a really awesome season for them. And that would be the 4th year in a row with an Oakland team winning a championship. Now, the 5th and final year was the Raiders' first Super Bowl win. The Raiders went on to be 16-1 when it was all said and done with the playoffs. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 32-14 to win their first Super Bowl. It wasn't their first appearance because we all know that the Raiders played the Packers in Super Bowl II. Fortunately, they lost, but Ken Stabler was the quarterback for the Raiders. I mean, this was just a really good Raiders team. This Raiders team was actually voted quite recently on polls as the best NFL team of all time. They scored 16 points in the second quarter of this game, which really put them over the top of the game. They had a Super Bowl record at the time, 429 yards, and a Super Bowl record, 288 yards in the first half. This is Super Bowl 11, which was formerly in 1976. And they were 13-1 in the season. Obviously, only 14 regular season games now, but 16-1 after the playoffs. The Raiders receiver, Fred Biletnikoff, he had 4 catches for 79 yards, set up 3 Raiders touchdowns. He won MVP of this game, which was rightfully so. Willie Brown got a 75-yard return for a touchdown. I mean, the Raiders were just dominant in this game, and it was really cool to see. Just looking back on Ken Stabler as the Raiders quarterback. Fran Tarkenton was the quarterback for the Vikings, and this would be the Oakland's 5th consecutive year with a championship. And to get to the Super Bowl, I mean, the Raiders had to play really tough teams. They dominated against their hard-headed rivals, Pittsburgh Steelers, 24-7 in the AFC Championship game. And I mean, this was just a really, really awesome, season. And the Super Bowl was actually in 1977, but it was the 1976 Raiders team that actually made it. So technically, that would be 5 years in a row. Ken Stabler, just got to look back on him and respect all the talent that these Oakland teams had. I mean, the A's, the Warriors, and the Raiders, and unfortunately the A's are the only lasting Oakland team left, but these legacies always carry on. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts. I thought it would just be cool to make a cool history video on the 5 championships that Oakland teams had in the 70s, and all of them were in consecutive seasons. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.